talk to you. Well, that's because they don't know the truth. If you don't like me and you knew the truth, I'm the one you would want to talk to. Because if you don't, as I was just saying, since we back up, many people, they don't talk to people that they don't like. Well, if you are a man of God, especially a man of God, there are no people that you don't like. It's deeds and actions of people that you don't like. And the minute they change those deeds and actions, then you like them. Do you understand? It's because when I tell a person I don't like them, it's not because of who they are, it's because of what they are, or what they are doing. You understand? Okay. So I've learned to not wrestle with flesh and blood. It ain't about what flesh you in. I'm not going to say that I've completely eliminated my wariness of flesh, because that would be not the truth. But I have learned to put that aside and remember to treat people like I want to be treated, and remember how ugly it was for people to look at me because of my skin and call themselves making a judgment about my character. Do you understand? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad helped me to work on myself in that sense. When he said to us, he said, there are white Muslims in America. And the minute he said that, I thought about a lesson that he gave us. He said, are there any Muslims other than righteous? And the answer was, I beg your pardon? I've never heard of one. Do you understand? And so when he said there are white Muslims in America, I had to go study some more. And as I studied, I realized that it wasn't the Honorable Elijah Muhammad springing something new on us. It was us not having paid attention to what he had been teaching us. For he told us that Master Farad Muhammad's father went and found him a white wife and made a good Muslim out of her, and then put his seed in her. So if he made a Muslim out of her, then that does away with white skin making somebody a devil. Do you understand? So I had to reassess what I was talking about and what was being taught. And he was telling us that the white man, as he says, it was revealed to him, that Allah revealed to him that the white man is the devil. And we made him that. Do you understand? So if you made him something, he also taught us the meaning of make. He said when you make something, you start with something. Now, what is missing in that statement? A house, a wood frame house, is a house. Now, you started off with wood and you made that wood into a house. Do you understand? The wood ain't the house. The wood is that you constructed the house out of. I didn't hear you. But the wood itself, it's just wood. Well, that's the way it is with people. we make people into doctors, lawyers, engineers, carpenters. But they're just people. Do you understand? And then we make them something else with knowledge. So I try to live at peace with every man. We made the devil disagreeably live within peace by making him a racist. Do you understand? We taught him that he was more than he really was. We had to teach him that. He wasn't going to be the devil if we didn't teach him lies. And so Yaqub taught him a bunch of lies. You understand? And then we put a curse on him. When you build a person's mind up on untruths, you are cursing their mind. You are cursing that person. You see. As we said, only is a curse until the day of judgment, until the day of the Son of Man, and then the Son of Man will come and remove that from you, if you let him. So that's what I'm doing. See, white people, the more they listen to me, the more they like me. And I don't blame him, because I've gave him a new lease on life. Let him know you don't have to be afraid that somebody's going to do harm to you. Nobody here to do harm to you. You harming yourself. The mind that we put in you is harming you. But now I'm here to take it out. Now, what is that? You told me somebody was typing something. Cyrus? His name is Cyrus?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now read it to me. Well, I don't never want you to think that you got to have a private conversation with me before I hear what you got to say. Don't do that to me. Just tell me when I'm open up. Let me hear it for the first time as the people hear it for the first time. I don't need to rehearse nothing. As I told you, I'm not afraid of who's gonna come in the door and hear me teaching and embarrass me. You can't embarrass me. The only reason I would have to be embarrassed is if I made up the stuff that I'm saying to you. But if it's just like I tell, let me see, how many times in the meeting have you started to see that, if I say something and it's not quite accurate, just like when I was talking about the nuclear football. I didn't know it was more than one nuclear football. And when they said the vice president had the nuclear football, I said, well, what he doing with it? What? He done took over the presidency. That's what I thought. And a brother, one of the technicians, told me, said, no, sir, the vice president have one, the president have one, and then the other one is it's a spare at the White House. And I think that is the redundancy built in. That's a wise thing. Because what if a fool is in the office and launches a nuclear strike? Then if you got another football, you can, I assume, do like they did on Mission Impossible. Disarm it. Disarm that thing that he let out there. And so that's a good thing. So it's more safeties built into the system. Just like it's 3 branches of government. They got 3 nuclear footballs. And that's good. The more I look at what the ruler, the white man, especially this white man in North America, for this is the seat of the devil. I will sit in the sides of the north and be like the Most High. That's what he said. Where we at? Where's Washington, D.C.? It's in the sides of the north. It says, there shall be blood up to the horse's bridle by the space of 1,600 furlongs, since 1,600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But anyway, it's all written in there in symbolic language, and people don't get it. But the the devil is called the vicegerent. Like Mike Pence was the vice president. He was second only to the president. Do you understand? The devil is second only to God. Do you understand? And so many people, they don't understand that, you know, the devil, he starts off in the garden as serpent. That's a water snake. Your brain is in water. You know, he's a serpent. Now, he was more subtle than any other beast of the field that God had made. He's more subtle. And so that the only one that's more subtle than him is Allah. Do you understand? He can subliminally seduce you without you even know you have been seduced. They had a thing in the, I'll show you an example. They made it against the law to put subliminal messages in movies and in elevator music and all that kind of thing. They found out that they was flashing things that your conscious mind missed, but your subconscious caught it. Do you understand? And they made that against the law. You see, too bad that they didn't continue the law against propaganda. You know, to purposely feed the public false information. Do you understand? You know, look at what happened with, they showed you the dangers of that with, what was that, H.G. Wells? The War of the Worlds? When H.G. Wells then was on the radio pretending that there had been an invasion. And it was just a show, and they had announced that they was going to do that, but he knew people was going to forget that he announced it. And then when it came out, it created panic, you know, because people thought they had been invaded by Mars. You know, but so you have to be careful on what you allow. That's part of what government is. You notice they put, as I've brought this to your attention before, you need to pay attention to the fact that many of your companies that have those 18-wheelers and depend on those tractor trailers, those tractors that they buy in fleets, and they hire people to drive those tractors, the truckers, and they put a governor. They come from the factory. When he orders them, they'll order the trucks with governors on them, so that you can't rev that engine up more than 1,800 RPM. No matter how you put it, you can put the pedal to the metal, and it ain't gonna go no more than 1,800 RPMs. That is so that a person, you know, people who generally didn't have to buy the thing, didn't have to pay for it. It's hard to get people to take care of something that don't belong to them when you let them use it. You understand? They are most people, they don't do unto others as they'd have others do unto them. That don't come into play. So knowing that, then the governor keeps you from doing something to that truck that if it was yours, you probably wouldn't do no way. Do you understand? But and that keeps the fleet pretty safe, you know. And then they have a maintenance crew that that checks those trucks when they come back in and whatnot, to make sure that they got oil and everything in them. Everything is checking out on. But the main thing is they have governors on them to govern how much you will tax that engine. Now, many people don't realize that the public is the engine that makes the public of the United States is the engine that makes the United States what it is. It is the public. The public makes up the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. The public makes the economy. The public is where you get your workers from. The public is where you get your senators from, your representatives from. All of these come from the public. And so you must govern. That's why you want, as George Washington says, he said, and I'm going to quote him just a moment. George Washington said that and I'm reading from page 8 at the bottom of the page on his farewell address. Each of you should go online and print that out for yourself. And before you start talking crazy, thinking that, I mean, you think that I'm not supposed to honor white people like George Washington, Ben Franklin, and all of them. Those are some of my fathers. See, what you don't understand is, when I say my fathers, I'm talking about the mind that's in me. This mind up here, it was partly produced and brought into being by what they taught. Do you understand? By what they left here. I am the first and the last Adam. And now many that are last are going to have to be first. And many that are first are going to have to be last, like me. Do you understand? You can't do that if you close the door on knowledge. Forget about who's saying a thing and ask yourself, is what is being said, is it true? Buy the truth and sell it not. Do you understand? Of all this is the last sentence on the page 8. Of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, which leads to successful governments. What do you call government? Politics? If you want to prosper, if you want a prosperous political system, religion and morality are indispensable supports. They are supports that if you don't have, your political system will fail. Did you hear what I said? Without God, I can do nothing. That's when you understand that God is the truth. Without the truth, I can't do nothing. With the truth, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. So, it says, let it simply be asked, where is the security for your property, for your reputation? Look how Donald Trump proved the truth of what George Washington said, how he lied about Hillary Clinton and lied about whoever he didn't like, was up there lying talking about President Obama wasn't born in the United States and all that old kind of stuff. Huh? Where is the security? Now, you don't mind it when you lying on people, but if somebody lie on you, you scream from here to high heaven. Ain't that something? You notice, a lot of you ain't even thought about the fact that all of the evidence that has been brought out about what Donald Trump and them was in there saying and what they was doing, at any time they wanted to, they could have came before that committee and testified to what they had done and what they had not done. How come he didn't go in there? Nolo contendory is the same as guilty. But anyway, so as George Washington, I'm not reading the whole thing because I want to get to Mr. Cyrus. He wrote something and I haven't heard it yet. But it says, let it simply be asked, where is the security for your property, for your reputation, for life itself? Look at that, them people's lives that was put in jeopardy, in danger, because of the lies that was told about people fixing the election. So it says, if the sense of religious obligation deserts the oaths, which are the instruments of investigation in courts of justice. Justice cannot be justice if justice is not blind. God has no respect of persons. You notice, the truth is blind. That's why the truth don't care who you are. The truth will get in your mouth and speak if you let it in. Knock and it shall be open. Huh? Seek and you shall find. The truth is neither black nor white. The truth just is. As is written, I am. Say, I am have sent you. Why? Because you don't say, where did matter come from? Who created matter? Matter just is. Subject matter is the same. You don't create the truth, the subject matter. The subject matter has always been the truth. When you find it out, then it was the truth before you found it out. Huh? So don't say you authored it. Let God be true, and every man that claims he authored something, he let him be a liar. Okay. Then it says, and let us with caution indulge the supposition. Let us with caution entertain the idea that morality can be maintained without religion. You know why people are so immoral now? It's not because of the lack of the term religion. It is the lack of the understanding of what true religion is. And false religion has been taught for so long that people decided that this confusion, this Tower of Babel that they done built up here in this country, have led them to the conclusion that there is no God. The mere fact that they thought that they had to build a tower to reach up to heaven, it gave you the wrong understanding of what heaven is. You don't build no tower to get up somewhere to God. The kingdom of God is inside of you. Do you understand? But how is the truth going to get inside of you when you go to church and ask the question and they tell you, we don't question God, we just believe what he says? And well, how you going to learn something if you can't ask no questions? So people came to the conclusion that there is no God. And if there is no God, then who's to say what is moral and what is immoral? And so George Washington wisely said, and let us with caution entertain the idea or supposition that morality can be maintained without religion. That's the only place you were taught morals. Is in religion. That is a religious principle. There's no such thing as an immoral religious man. Do you understand? What is morality? Is when you share all of your good and keep your evil to yourself. Do you understand? For any of us that claim we have not sinned and don't clarify what that means, you lying. But a devil is one whose evil is not confined to himself, but affects others. Do you understand? Why you think Allah, why would he make me perfect and then drop me over in the middle of an imperfect society? This was done with the prophets. God raised them up, cleaned them up, and then sent them back. Huh? Why you think Isaiah said, we are all as an unclean thing? In all of our righteousnesses, all our religious doctrines and all our righteousness is a pile of filthy rags. Good master, what can I do to save? Jesus said, what are you calling me good for? Ain't none good but one. Jesus didn't have no overestimation of himself. You did that. Jesus didn't do that. So he said, there ain't none good but one, and that is God. The truth is good. Flesh is weak. You can't fix your mouth to call God weak. Now, your house may be beautiful, but your house ain't you. I didn't hear you. And if you don't preserve it, it will crumble one day. It will fall down. Flesh can be beautiful, but it must be preserved. God don't have to stay dipped in blood to be God. Flesh have to stay dipped in blood to be flesh. I didn't hear you. All right. So, I'm waking you up to righteousness. Righteousness is what the scriptures is. It's instruction in righteousness. Awake to righteousness. You notice when the sun rises, the creatures of the day, they start to wake up. Huh? So the Son of Man is here rising on you, as I was told, arise and shine. says, for the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. The understanding of the Lord of the worlds is risen upon me. The understanding of the truth. The truth is the Lord of all worlds. So, so I'm here to share that with you. So now, George Washington went on to say, he said, whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education. I'll show you an example. When they strike oil, it comes out the ground and they call it crude oil. It's crude because in the form that it's in out of the ground, you don't want to put that in your engine. That oil is mixed with all kind of stuff. You understand? So they built a refinery. Is that right? And once it is refined, the plastic, the byproducts that's in it is removed. Do you understand? And the lubrication that it has the ability to put in your motor, which is called, I think, as I remember, it's called viscosity. Its viscosity is then pure and readily seen and ready to be used. Do you understand? So, as he said, whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education. You know how education gets refined? By study. As they studied the knowledge of metallurgy, the knowledge of what they in Scripture it is referred to as the smith. You know, the blacksmith. You know, it says he learned to that oxygen will make a fire hotter and hotter the more oxygen you put in it. And other gases, he even learned to use other gases like that acetylene torch, you know, and that kind of thing. But he refined, that's refined knowledge. That is refined knowledge that as you studied it and studied it and studied it, he gained more and more of it. You understand? Which goes into what Jesus was saying the kingdom of heaven is like. Unto treasure. A treasure trove of knowledge hidden in different fields. The kingdom of heaven is like that. Just like the treasure trove of knowledge that's hidden in the field of metallurgy or the field of welding and that kind of thing. The more you do it, the more you learn about it until you just get a whole treasure of it, and you call yourself a expert at it. Do you understand? Okay, but you don't get that just doing something once. The more you do it, while you're doing it, whether you realize it or not, you're studying it. And the more you study, the more you buy in the whole field. Do you understand? You know, it says, and then you can open up schools, and they open up schools, and they say, come buy of me gold that's been tried in fire. You know, meaning tried through experience, trial and error. You understand? Some of those errors you can walk away from, but some errors you can't walk away from. They learn to put a safety cable on them when they're walking up high on something and whatnot. Because if you fall, you ain't got no wings. But you might as well try to fly because you're falling anyway. But it ain't going to help you. So they learn from mistakes. Just like the putting a canary in a coal mine and that kind of thing to detect odorless gas that could kill you. You know, so it's all types of things that you learn from doing, and sometimes you pay the ultimate price, but someone behind you learns, like the ant. The ant carries poison until he dies, and then another ant pick it up and keep walking with it until he get to the queen, and she produce a generation that's no longer susceptible to that poison. You understand? So, let us keep going. It says, whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education. There's much good in refined education. And then look around you. I'm looking at these hardwood floors here. They're beautiful. We white people learn to make these things. I learned this from them. You understand? So you have to concede that there is good in that education. He says, the influence, it says, whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education on minds of different structure, of minds of peculiar structure. It says that just, you got people that know how to make tables. You got people that know how to make roofing shingles. People that know how to turn tin into metal roofs and that kind of thing. You got look at those PVC pipes, water pipes. Now they got something called PEX. Huh? Whatever may be conceded to the influence of that natural knowledge, the knowledge of the natural creation. He says, reason and experience both. There have been civilizations that was able, you found in King Tut's tomb trinkets and artifacts that they can't reproduce today. But that civilization is gone that produced them things. Reason and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in the absence of religious principles. There's no such thing as a moral person that is not religious. Whatever you try to claim you authoring and all of that kind of thing. See, I remember when I was a child, if it hadn't been for my mother, I wouldn't be half the man that I am now. And that ain't much, but I wouldn't even been that. My mother and my father, he backed her up. He chose him a good wife. Men used to say, man, I'm going to church to get me a woman. When they got ready to get married, they wouldn't got them a woman that was in church. Huh? And church used to be a place where people were sincere. At least some of them was. But it degenerated. Like most things. People join something. There's an old saying that the devil has. If you can't beat them, join them, work your way up to the top, and then mislead them. Cause them to deviate. Do you understand? So, women didn't used to come in church with no makeup and lipstick and all that stuff on when I was growing up. That was forbidden. You couldn't do that. Now look at you. Come in there with hot pants on, miniskirt, or whatever. You don't care. Preacher don't either. He's standing up there with cigarettes up in his pocket. What kind of leadership is that? Presidents used to did not let you see them smoking and that kind of thing. They were models. They kept that evil out of your sight. It's like my daddy. I didn't even know my daddy drank until I got almost grown. You know, my daddy didn't let me see him drinking. No. And I love him for that. I love, I love all of the examples that they guided us to the right path, even if they couldn't walk in it. They never tried to make evil into something good to us and telling us it's okay. But anyway, so as George Washington was telling, this is his farewell address to the people. Like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's farewell address to us. It is substantially true that virtue or morality is a necessary spring of democratic government. Why you think the Swift boat thing that got Gary Hart disqualified? All of the stuff that if you want your democratic republic to stand, you have to make sure that the pillars stay in place. Do you understand? And it says, it is substantially true that virtue or morality is a necessary spring of popular government, a necessary spring of democratic governments. The rule, indeed, extends with more or less force to every type of government, of free government. Where government is not imposed upon people, where people chose that government to govern them. That is the free government. And if you want it to stay that way, you had better put in place the principles of religion and moral uprightness. Do you understand? Who that can claim to be a sincere friend to that form of government can look with indifference upon attempts to shake the foundations or to undermine religion and moral principles? Well, you ain't no friend to democracy if you don't hold true to the principles of religion and morality. Promote then, now listen to these words, just one little simple paragraph. Promote, encourage, as an object of primary importance, institutions for the general educating of the people. Public education. Since everything that you have depends on your public. He said, in proportion as the structure of a government gets its force, and it also gives force to the public opinion, it is essential that the public opinion should be enlightened and not based on lies. The quickest way to destroy your government is to lie to your people. Because once you get people to distrust what you tell them, your free government is through. Donald Trump and them knew that. You don't know how much damage he did to you. And you helped him do it by allowing these Newsmax and Fox News to knowingly, they don't confess that they know that they ain't telling the truth. And you interpret the Constitution as meaning they have a right to do that. That's like saying termites have a right to be in your house. You don't knowingly let termites come into your house and start eating away at its structure. Then why are you knowingly letting these termites come into your government and eat away at its structure from within? It's because you have lost your way, because you didn't keep an eye on your educational system. You even let people come into your school system and tell you that it's wrong for you to have to teach your children patriotism. What's wrong with pledging your allegiance to your country and its flag? What's wrong with that? It's just a reminder. I mean, it didn't make me go along with the wrongs of people who murder my people and all that kind of thing, but it did teach me to as I go and fight against tyranny, that there's a way to do it without shedding blood. Because there's an old saying, a man forced against his will, he remains of the same opinion still. Just because he's scared to say it, that don't mean that he done changed his mind. If you want to change his mind, you got to reason with him. You got to show him. If he will let you, you got to show him that he's wrong. Do you understand? Okay. All right. I don't spend enough time on that. Forgot I was wearing the lapel mic here. Excuse me, brother. Now, we had Cyrus in there, and now let us hear what he was saying.
Yes, sir. He left us on the June 22nd meeting, and he starts out by saying, this is their country, not ours. That's their constitution. Try building something without their approval. Where did you get your business license? From them, right? You can only buy...
Just a moment. You're not telling us anything that we don't know. Yes, this is their country. Let me see here. You see, now, I don't know who Cyrus is claiming to be following, but you're not telling me something that was said. You trying to take credit for something that you didn't author. You see, you try to, let me see here. You remember I told you that you have people that are actually hypocrites. You notice when I tell you something, I will always basically tell you where I got it from. Huh? How come he don't say where he got that from? Let me see here. Let me see if I can find it and let you see him saying it. But right now, everybody know the voice of the messenger. For just a moment.
Chicago white people and teaching and teacher.
Just a moment. I have it here, and I ain't going to be lazy in finding it. So just give me a minute here. I'd like to show you where people oftentimes stay.
He will be told to break ground on the next one. Country club. Yes, sir. The country club. Chicago white people. To think the Chicago white people for making it possible for us to obtain the country club, for making it possible for us to get in such position where we can prove ourselves worthy of that position. Yes, sir. We thank them. They have did us a great favor. Yes, sir. I don't think that we have nothing to do but to honor and thank them for putting us in such position. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Apostle. This is their house. And we are here teaching the truth. Yes, sir. That's right. They're not objecting to you teaching the truth. As we have white Muslims in America. And lots of them. We have them all over the world. Yes, sir. And they recognize and respect you. That's right. Go ahead, Department. You must recognize and respect them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You see, people like you, Cyrus, just a moment. People like you, Cyrus, you pick up little bits and pieces of our teachings, and then you throw it back to us as if you believe in it when you really don't. That's Farrakhan's problem. He uses the messenger as a shield, as the we have a lesson that says, why did we take Jerusalem from the devil? Because one of our righteous brothers who was a prophet by the name of Jesus was buried there, and they used Jesus' name to shield their dirty religion. Y'all been walking around here using the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name to shield your lies, to shield your disrespectful nature and your disrespectful attitude. You would do just the opposite of what he was saying do. He taught us to respect everybody. If this was my country, I would want some say-so in what kind of business people put up in my country. What do you find fault in that for? They got zoning commissions in this society. The white man, he set up zoning commissions for a purpose to make sure that if people open up business, that they had a chance to succeed. For if there's a certain type of business, now I don't know it to the extent that he knows it, because he set it up. But I see the wisdom in it. If there's so much population in a city, they do studies. It's a reason they keep count of the population and stuff. And this is a capitalist society. This is their way of making money is called capitalism. And so if you open up a shoe store, and they may look at the area, and it may be enough population to handle 2 or 3 shoe stores. But so they will zone it for no more than 3 shoe stores. Why? Because if you open too many shoe stores, ain't none of them going to be making money. So where you think that you understand something, you don't understand nothing. I'm not a person who thinks that every time somebody do something, it's against me. Why would I think that? When I know I ain't did nothing to you, I don't expect you to be everything you do to be against me. Do you understand? So anyway, and I'm not saying that they don't do some things just purposely to us. I done pointed that out. But him requiring you, I mean, I want the health department to come and look at if we selling food out of there to everybody. They ought to have a health inspector come out there and make sure that we ain't poisoning people, and that our facility is suitable to be serving food to people. And if you intend to do right by the public, you ought to appreciate that. You also ought to appreciate when the government in its right state check you and make sure you got all of the necessary credentials to open up a business. Do you understand? That's like somebody going out on the basketball court and don't want to play by the rules. If you don't want to play by the rules, stay off the court. So anyway, I don't get angry with people for having control of their government. Listen to the messenger some more.
people that is trying to respect you. Yes, sir. I remember the last time that I was out to the airport. They let me and my followers get on first. Now remember that flag is still flying over America. Yes, sir. Honor and respect the man. Yes, sir. Because he still have his flag. There's much that can be interchanged between them and us. In that way of respect. Yes, sir. We don't have to get up to try to make fun of them just because you have ruined yourself. And now you have ruined them.
Yes, sir. That's right, Apostle.
Just remember.
Yes, sir.
That they show you respect after you have ruined yourself.
Yes, sir, Apostle.
Show them respect too. Yes, sir. Because when you didn't know yourself, you didn't respect yourself, nor anyone else. That's right. We used to disgrace ourselves and them too. That's right. Because we didn't know ourselves. Yes, sir.
It's just like what you tried to suggest to me, that I should disrespect them simply because they run their country. While I'm telling you I want my own country. Well, at one time, they were a part of the government of Great Britain. And they reached a point where they no longer wanted to be tied to Great Britain. But they, for almost 200 years, they was tied to Great Britain. And we was enslaved by them. And they decided that they wanted to break away from Britain and form their own government. And they were already in a new land. They even called this the New World. Do you understand? And they decided we don't want to be colonies of Britain no more. We can run this ourselves. They didn't go back and try to conquer and take Britain from the England. They didn't try to take England. They were in a new land, and they took this and did what they could with it. As the messenger said, as we said, he said, he taking it from me and he taking it from my brother. He said, well, if you're going to let him take it, then that's okay. He said, one thing I could bear witness with the white man, the Indian wasn't doing nothing with the country but hunting and fishing. And if he was going to come here and take it away from them and build up a great country like this, he said, I say he should have come a long time before he did come. And many people thought that that was an insulting statement. But if he had came here a long time before he did come, then he would have had it first. Do you understand? He wouldn't have had to take it from them. But they were exiled over here approximately 16,000 years ago. when that was before he was made. And so the messenger, he taught us to be just. Even the Native American, I bet you if you asked him, do he want to go back to living in tents and what he had, whatnot, even some of them, they could learn to build cabins and stuff from the white man. But they still practice the ways of the nomadic ways, that they would leave those cabins and go follow the herd of buffalo. They didn't learn to raise buffalo and do like the white man did. So that when he would build the cabins, white people come in there and settle in his cabins and then wouldn't give them back to him. That was wrong, but they were told to do that. If you recall, the word of God said, go and subdue the earth and have dominion over it. He don't call himself landlord for nothing. But see, you don't know the word of God, so you don't understand what he meant when he said he had a manifest destiny. You see? We know that that which makes manifest is light. The word of God is a written account of the destiny of people. I'm just so thankful to Allah that he has opened up my mind to understand my place. And he has opened up my heart to stay in my place. And always give him credit for what I did not know that he made known to me. Unlike some of y'all. You walk around here taking what somebody taught you and you won't even say, so-and-so taught me that. Now, you hearing the messenger, read back what he said and tell me that he didn't get that from the messenger. But he twisted.
Yes, sir. And he says, this is their country, not ours. That's their constitution. Try building something without their approval. Where did you get your business license? From them, right? You can only buy land from them. You have to go through them to own anything. All we own, we had to go through their system, you understand.
What did the messenger say? Now, remember, their flag is still flying over America. Honor and respect the man, because he still has his flag. Yes, we buy land from them. And we doing something with what we bought. That's why the messenger said, we want to thank the Chicago white people for allowing us to purchase the country club. They have did us a great favor. He said, I don't think we have nothing to do but to honor and thank them for putting us in such position. For you didn't have to sell it to you. I didn't hear you. They didn't have to let us buy no property. So he is good and said, okay, yeah, you can buy that. Go in. Let me see what you're going to do. You run your mouth, just talk. What are you doing? Cyrus, give us, tell him to type in there and let me see what he's been doing. Other than condemning white people for being what God made them. You ever seen somebody standing around looking at, you notice when the white man look at creatures, he write books on them. He don't condemn the creatures. He got some ugly little creatures out there and do some ugly things. Look at the dodo bird. He go and lay his egg in another bird's nest. And when that egg is hatched, it pushes the squabs of the the bird, the mother, pushes them out the nest and takes their place. And the white man, he just writes about what they do. Do you understand? He don't make judgments that they evil and all that kind of thing. That's not what he was told to do. He was told to go and have dominion over all these creatures. Study them so that you will understand them. And the more you understand them, the more you understand that you may fool everybody else, but I made you. And the more you learn about these creatures, the more you realize you can't fight God. You understand? So it's best to submit. And if no matter what you are, he even showed you, now look, this is what I want you to do. You know that lions, tigers are afraid of fire. You know an elephant is a very strong creature. Now come here. Let me teach you something. I'll teach you how to take an elephant and put a stake in the ground and hold him with a rope around his neck and nothing holding him but a stake in the ground. And he will stop every time that he's big enough to pull it loose and walk off. But I will teach you to use his memory against him. Huh? I'll teach you to make a lion jump through a ring of fire. And you know they're scared of fire. Huh? So Allah showed him, what you think a circus is about? You having fun. The white man showing you his children, the wise ones do. You know, they say, now see what Allah made us able to do? That's what the truth makes you able to do. It makes you gain the mastery over anything and anybody. But don't never try to gain the mastery over the master. Do you understand? Okay. So, so here's a man, he takes what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that he didn't understand, and he tries to come in here and throw it at me as though I'm supposed to. Now, what if I listen to him? He would have caused me to deviate from what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, respect the man. He said, their flag is still flying over America. You notice people was trying to condemn me for having the American flag here. In America. As though it was never in Muhammad's temple. Every time you walked in Muhammad's temple, you saw an American flag on the blackboard. Next to our flag, at least the beginning of our flag, well, why shouldn't it have been there? Because I'm the first and the last. I'm an American and I'm a Muslim. And I'm proud to be both. Do you understand? And I'm not ashamed that if you don't like it, if God thought it was okay, why shouldn't I think it's okay? So you got none. I remember that's one thing I used to, I remember once W.D. Muhammad, he picked up American flag. He said, if you won't walk with it, I will. And I said, what is he doing? And but deep down, I think I knew that he was right. I mean, it's not a one of us can claim. Did you go through the school system of the United States? Well, how in the world are you going to claim you're not an American? You know why they call this the melting pot? How many of y'all saw Infinity Wars? You remember when Thor went to the Nidavellir, I think that was the name of it, where the dwarfs was? Neverdelir, okay. He went there to get the axe that would be the God killer. But that which was going to compose that axe had to be put in a melting pot. Huh? And then, well, America is a melting pot. And you notice that which is that truth that will kill all false religions is in the mouth of an ex-slave. Allah has sent me with the guidance and the religion of truth, that I may make it overcome the religions, all of them. Don't care what they throw at me. You notice I throw my axe back at them, and it just goes straight through. And then they shut up. We take truth and hurl it. Remember, when Thor threw that axe, all them stones together couldn't stop that axe. Huh? Hit him right in the chest, didn't he? He said, you should have went for the head. So I'm going after the head, brother. I'm going to have these people scared to make a movie pretty soon. But anyway.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Somebody raised their hand.
Yes. We have a caller.
Yeah, salam.
Meanwhile, Lincoln Allah Salam.
Man, in a recent class you mentioned, and I'm paraphrasing you here, so give me if I made a mistake, that the said nation of Islam was the one made by the messenger to raise the Son of Man. If that purpose has been fulfilled, what if any purpose does the said nation of Islam have now? And were the lessons that was issued, like the lessons in the prophet book, were they mainly written for the Son of Man or for the benefit of all?
All of it was written for me. That's why Allah said he sent me to y'all. And that's why he hold me responsible for you all if I don't tell you the truth. And that's over there in Ezekiel. It also in the Holy Quran. See, the Holy Scriptures wasn't given to you. It was given to me. It was put in y'all's hands. The Son of Man shall be delivered into the hands of sinful men. It's just like when you getting ready to put people in school. When they put us in school, they issued us books. But the books really wasn't for us. It was the aid, the teacher, to teach us. Do you understand? Because when they gave us books from first grade all the way through school, when we opened up them books, we couldn't understand what was in them until that teacher got with us and started taking us through them books. Do you understand? Okay. And so here it is, right here in the 3rd chapter of Ezekiel, and in the 62nd chapter. Just a moment. The 62nd chapter of the Holy Quran. In the 3rd chapter of Ezekiel, in the 17th verse, it says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, unto the mind of Jacob. Remember, when you hear the term Israel, you are actually looking at the name Jacob, because Jacob's name was changed to Israel. And it says, therefore, hear the word at my mouth. As Moses was told that Aaron would be to him instead of a mouth, and he would be to Aaron instead of God. Well, if Aaron became Moses' mouth, then all of the prophets was God's mouth. And so it's written. It says, hear the word at my mouth. These words that's in these pages here in Ezekiel was in the mouth of the prophet Ezekiel. And so Allah told me to recite those words, and as I recited, He opened my ears, my spiritual ear, to make me hear it, to make me understand it. And then He held me responsible to, when it addresses things that you all are doing, He told me to warn you. He didn't say take them, give them the book and tell them they better read it, because He didn't give you that. It's only one member of your body that can see, hear, smell, and speak, and that's your head. All your other members are deaf, dumb, and blind. The head makes them see, hear, and speak. Other than that, they can't speak. And that's just like you. Y'all can't speak without me. You've been trying all your life to guide yourself through the scriptures, and look at the condition of the world. And all of you say, well, you entitled to your belief and I'm entitled to mine. Ain't now one of you entitled to a belief. You know why? If you was entitled to it, it couldn't be taken from you. No, you are not entitled to it. It's just like claiming you entitled to a car and you ain't got the papers on it. You stole it. Or somebody stole it and gave it to you. But it's not your car. Why? Because you don't have the title on it to prove that it is yours. You can't take mine, but I can take everything that y'all claim to believe in. Them atheists, people who claim to be atheists, was walking around here having a field day on these so-called religious people, making jokes about them. As good as saying to them, y'all don't know what you worship. I don't want that stuff. You don't hear now come in here and tell me he don't want what I'm offering. He's scared to say he don't want what I'm offering him. You know why? Because if he say he don't want it, then you will know that man just don't want the truth. I didn't hear you. So, it says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, understand the word of my messengers, and give them warning from me. I'm responsible for you. That's why I stand up and Allah fixed it where I could talk to the whole world. That's what the internet was given to you for. It's killing y'all. It's my instrument to reach you. But when you get on the internet, it's just destroying you if you don't get behind me and stay there. Now, in the 62nd chapter of the Holy Quran, it says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth glorifies Allah, the King, the Holy, the Mighty, the Wise. He it is who raised among the illiterates a messenger from among them who recites to them his messages and purifies them, removes their misunderstanding, and teaches them the understanding of the Bible and the Holy Quran and the wisdom, the instruction in righteousness, although they were before certainly in manifest error, meaning in error in their understanding. Do you understand? So I'm doing what's written. So now, don't ever come to me afraid to raise your objection, but be willing to hear if your objection is sustained or overruled. You hear objections in court all of the time. Sometimes the judge says, objection sustained, especially when it comes to, Your Honor, he's leading the witness. The judge said, objection sustained. Rephrase your question, counsel. Huh? And you can't keep doing it after the judge done got on you about it. If you keep on doing it, if he have to keep on saying, rephrase that prisoner. He said, counsel, you do that again, I'm going to hold you in contempt. You understand? Because the lawyer knows better. If he don't know better, he ain't got no business practicing law. And if he does know better and ignores what he knows, he ain't got no business in there trying to practice law. Because he is an officer of the court. And officers of the court are supposed to respect the rules of the court. You don't get in court and demand people tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And then you, as an attorney, get up there and start lying. Why are you holding witnesses to a different yardstick than you hold yourself? That's why Jesus said, woe to you lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. The key of knowledge is the understanding of knowledge. It's just like what they've done with the Constitution. They think because they have the title lawyer that gives them some inside track on, and you and me can't understand the Constitution because we're not lawyers. That's what they're telling you. You know how you can tell that I'm right? How come ain't no lawyer came in here and told me I was wrong about what I said about the Second Amendment, defining itself with the first sentence, a well-regulated militia. From that point on, that amendment is talking about the militia. The right of the people of the militia to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. But you likes to lie, and your lies is about to lose you your country. Okay. So now, let's listen to the messenger some more, so we can make sure that if Dracula is in that coffin, he can't get out of it.
But now we respect ourselves and we respect him. Yes, sir. Praise be God. Yes, sir. You go out there disrespecting the honor of this land. They are owners as long as they're in power. Yes, sir.
You hear that? You remember I told him, you're not telling me nothing I don't know. I know the white man is the owner of this country. What has that got to do with anything? As the messenger said, they are the owner as long as they're in power. And listen to him explain it. Let's go back a little bit.
Yes, sir. You go out there disrespecting the honor of this land. They are owners as long as they're in power. Yes, sir. I think you will be showing disrespect for the high honor that has been conferred on you, yes, sir, and me, by God, yes, sir.
Thank you, dear Holy Apostle.
Yes, respect everybody. Everybody will respect you. Right.
Thank you.
If God give way to them to rule, then you honor their rule.
That's right.
As long as they are in power to rule, then respect them.
Yes, sir.
This I mean from my heart.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everywhere we go, respect people, and people will respect you.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's right.
Don't think that you are so great now just because God promised you the kingdom. Wait until you get in it.
Yes, sir.
And again, you must remember that a ruler being dishonored and dishonoring people, he is dishonoring himself.
Yes, sir.
My beloved brothers and sisters, God has come and he visits us. He don't mean for us to waste our time looking to see who can we make mark of.
Yes, sir.
That's one of the reasons why y'all followed Malcolm. Y'all didn't follow Malcolm because of what he was doing. When he left the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he wasn't doing nothing but talking. And every one of you wanted to do like Malcolm, go around talking and calling the white man old pale thing. Huh? But what are you doing? If you claim to have faith without works, you can look at the country that the white man done built up and you can see he got faith in something. Because his actions, he started working. Huh? As James say, the book of James say, I can very well say if a man come to me and say, matter of fact, let's turn to it. I don't like paraphrasing it when I can just turn to it and read it with you. See, you old vain man. That's James called you vain. He said, you show me your faith without works, I'll show you my faith by my works. Let's see here. Let me see what chapter here. In the second chapter, this is the I want to show you, I'm going to start at the 13th verse because there's a lot of people, especially you white people, you better hear this. For he shall have judgment without mercy that hath showed no mercy. And mercy rejoiceth against judgment. You know what that means? You better quit misusing us. I ain't going to forget you. So it's written, what doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? Did faith save Noah? Or did Noah have to do some work? I didn't hear you. Did faith save Lot? Or did Lot have to get on his bicycle? I didn't hear you. Okay. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled. I'm going to pray for you. You know, that's what, you know, we good for that. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. Huh? You hear that a lot coming from the Congress of the United States. Every time some children get murdered or whatnot, they get up there. They're the lawmakers now. They get up there and say, our thoughts and prayers is with you. Notwithstanding, they keep on making it easier and easier for people to buy guns. And their whole plan, I told you, you got termites. And look at the term, termites. Ain't it? 2 years and 6 years. Termites. Sitting up, making mischief right in your government. They even had that little nursery rhyme. There was a crooked man that had a crooked house. All it was missing was the word Senate. But anyway, then it says, be ye, and one of you, it says, if a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled. Notwithstanding, you give them not those things which are needful to the body. What profit is it? What profit is it for you to tell people our thoughts and prayers are with you when you don't go and do nothing about what's, and you in a position to make laws to prevent that stuff from keeping happening, and you do nothing? It's because you did not give a tinker's damn what happened to them children. You got people in your government that hate you. How you know they hate you? Because when they see things that's hurting you, they don't care to do nothing about it. Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Yeah, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show you my faith by my works. Huh? Yeah. Thou believest that there is one God? Thou doest well. The devils also believe that and tremble. You notice, ain't no devil in his right mind come in here and insult me no more. He know when God is with you. You think the devil don't recognize God? Huh? Fools rush in, where even the angel of the bottomless pit fear to go. You go check out prophecy again. Even Satan was scared to do certain things. Constantine, remember that? No. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? It don't even exist. So I'm just letting you see that you got people out there that claim to be followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My question to them is, how can you follow a man that ain't there? I mean, you cannot follow dead flesh. And unless you are equal or greater than the mind, if your mind is not equal to or greater than the mind that was in that flesh before it died, you can't follow him after death. And if you are equal or greater than him, there's no need to say you're his follower. You just pick it up and you're the leader now. Do you understand? Because he is alive in you. Which of you can claim you are, besides me, can claim he's equal to or greater than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in knowledge? And get him to bear witness to it. Like he already bore witness to me. He said, you can believe in Buddha. I don't care what you believe in. He said, but my God has not struck out after you 100% yet. And when he does, you're not going to go along with them. You're going to come back and say, shake my hand and say, Mr. Muhammad, I'm with you. Huh? How do you know that he was talking about me? You hear anybody arguing with me? You hear any religious person coming in here trying to present an argument against me? I told you, they don't even know how to begin an argument with me. Let alone prosecute one. Where does he start? You sit up out there and convince yourself that you done found something to attack me on, and when in actuality all you've done was heard the messenger's teachings and tried to misrepresent it. Before white people was given dominion over the earth, we had it. We gave it to them. Is it any wonder that we can take it back? I didn't hear you. But I don't have to kill them to take it back. Before it's over with, they're going to be glad I'm taking it back. Because, I mean, they ain't producing no leaders now. All they producing is dregs. Disrespectful, backwards thinking people. You know, in this enlightened day and time, if you're still trying to make judgments about people based on what they look like, the abyss is a mother to you. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. I didn't hear you. What is a comet? As they say, it's basically a frozen ball of ice. Huh? With all types of debris and stuff in its tail. With an impure tail. You notice the people who follow people like Donald Trump are just impure, wicked folks. You can't trust nothing they say. They just lie. They lie to their friends. They lie to their enemies. They lie to everybody. And then in secret they go and ask for pardons. What you asking for a pardon for? Because he knew he was doing something he had no business. Huh? Well, we got our crook here in the White House, so we can do what we please, and then before he leave office, he can pardon us. Is that how it went? Okay, now let me show you something here. You know, you know what history basically is? What are you doing when you study in history? Come on now. Let's use, for instance, when you which direction are you looking?
You're looking at the past backwards.
You're looking back. Hindsight.
2020.
Hindsight is always 2020. You know why? Because you don't have to wonder what a person did, because their history is there. That's what they did. You understand? History is the best rewarder of any research you're trying to do. You want to know what a thing will do? Look what it has done. Huh? All right. Now let's help you. You know who I really pity? Those people who's sitting up out there whose life is so empty that all they do is sit up and envy other people. And you know why people sit around envying other people? It is because they have time to do so, because they are doing nothing but looking. You know, it's like I understand when you go to a football game. The only people doing anything is the people down there on the field. Of course, you got the hot dog salesman and the beer and soda pop salesman up there. They raking in the money from all them do-nuts and up there, sitting up there watching the game and talking about what he should have done this and he should have, and visualizing themselves doing that when they can't do it, but they wish they could. And it's just a world full of people who envy others because they have built up a society that has half a mind. And the very nature of the natural mind, or the half a mind, is to gain as much for itself as it can. That's what a natural mind dictates to you. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about the competition and between you and the next fella. Everybody trying to gain wealth and gain what they think will bring them peace at each other's expense. Do you understand? And so, and you, even though they see generation after generation after generation practice that, and ain't nobody got peace. The rich ain't at peace, and the poor ain't at peace. Nobody's at peace. But they keep doing the same thing from one generation to the next. Now, what do they say the definition of a fool is?
A person who keeps doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Someone who keeps, or some people who keep doing the same thing but expecting a different result. So, the Holy Quran says, when it is said to them who make mischief, believe as the people of God believe, as the messengers of God believe. They say, shall we believe as the fools? Now surely they are the fools, but they perceive not. So this is the day where the truth has come, that everyone who wants it can save themselves by accepting the truth and accepting the one who brought it. And then get behind me and I will guide you to peace. But you practice the way of the jungle, and you even call your cities concrete jungles. And if you don't believe, your cities are actually more dangerous than the jungle. Because if you was in a jungle, for the most part, you can go in a jungle. If you study up on where you're going and the creatures that's in there, you can learn all about them before you get in there, and then you can deal with them. You take the right stuff in there with you and all that. You can function pretty well in the jungle. But with all your knowledge of the cities, you have never gained a thorough knowledge of the depths of the satanic mind. And that's why you keep getting surprised. And why is Satan called the angel of the bottomless pit? It is because as you look at evil and goodness, you notice, you look out in space, and it's just darkness, 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 just as it just goes on and on and on. It's an abyss. It's unfathomable darkness. If you think that what Donald Trump and people that supported him was bad or evil, you should read what their minds was thinking that they did not manifest to you. I mean, evil don't get better. It just gets worse. Do you understand? Look at this. Let's analyze something here, and then see what was at the root of it. Let's see.
In the weeks leading to January 6th, the Department of Justice was fielding almost daily requests from the president to investigate claims of election fraud. Each claim was refuted time and time again, an effort Attorney General Barr described as whack-a-mole. When each of the president's efforts failed, he resorted to installing a new Attorney General to say the election was illegal and corrupt, simply so he could stay in power. President Trump started leaning on the Justice Department the first chance he got. On November 29th, his first television interview after the election.
Where is the DOJ and the FBI in all of this, Mr. President? You have laid out some serious charges here. Shouldn't this be something that the FBI is investigating? Are they?
Michigan
Is
action.
the DOJ investigating?
Michigan action. Can't tell you where they are.
Republican congressmen echoed the president just 2 days later. They wrote a letter to Attorney General Barr, laying into the Justice Department for a, quote, shocking lack of...
Now, you don't understand the depth of that statement and what they was doing with Fox News there. First, they lay it out like, first of all, Donald Trump is a normal president. Do you understand? Then point out some things that they say is going wrong. And then ask him, where was the Justice Department in there? He says, missing in action. What does that mean? That is his way of saying that the Justice Department is incompetent. You can't trust the Justice Department. He tells you can't trust people in Congress, Democrats that disagree with him. They are untrustworthy. Republicans that disagree with him is Republicans in name only. You can't trust the Supreme Court justices that disagree with him. You can't trust them either. You can trust only Donald Trump. You understand? Okay. What did Donald Trump ever do to earn anybody's trust? When has he ever shown that he was someone you could trust? I'm waiting. Come on now. Trust is not something that is given. Trust is something that you must earn. Even though people may want to give you their trust, they just can't do it. Because if they are asked why do they trust you, they can't tell you why. Michael Cohen said he'd take a bullet for Donald Trump. Now he's one of Donald Trump's worst critics. And he bears witness against Donald Trump that he said, how can you tell when Donald is lying? He said his mouth is moving. What has Donald Trump ever told the truth about? And even when he read it, he was reading somebody else's words and just let you take it from there. The snake. You knew he was a liar before you put him in there. You knew he didn't care nothing about this country before you put him in there. It was already news that Donald Trump evaded the draft with a lie. He wasn't man enough to say, no, I don't believe in that war that y'all got going and I'm not going in. The military even has a statute of conscientious objector, a status of conscientious objection status, that if you are actually against the taking of life or you don't believe in a thing in their going to warfare, they don't want you out there. Do you understand? But he wasn't no conscientious objector because he told people that Officer Sicknick got a man who voted for him and was a police officer, was defending the Capitol and got killed. He didn't say we need some swift justice for these animals that went in there and killed that officer. He said he loved them. He said, go home, we love you. Go home. Go home? No, they got a game called Monopoly. Go straight to jail and don't pass go. Do you understand? Do you understand? That's what he should have been saying. And everybody that was there. You know, now, having a little experience in your system, if a man rob a bank and somebody get killed in there, everybody that was an accessory to it is an accessory to that killing, according to you. That's what you've been telling us. Then how all of them people that was walking around in the Capitol and taking part in that, how come they ain't been charged with accessory to the death of those police officers? Will a lawyer come in here and tell us why not? I'm curious. I mean, you sitting out there listening, so come in and tell us why that the people who participated in that uprising, everybody that was participating in it, a few officers died behind that. Why aren't those people culpable in that? You know, if you don't learn nothing from Abraham Lincoln's history, you're going to be sitting up in the theater and they're going to shoot you. Oh, that already done started, though, then. Okay. All right. How many of y'all think that I hate America? That I hate the white folks and I hate the government and all of that stuff? How many of y'all think that? How many of y'all think I'm a Uncle Tom? Come in here and tell me. And then stay on the phone and let me question you. Most of y'all didn't even know what Uncle Tom was. You thought Uncle Tom was some black man that loved white folks. There ain't no Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom is a black man that hates black people. Did you hear me? You didn't learn nothing from Django, did you? I mean, they showed it to you right there. What was Stephen upset about? Who was this nigger up on this horse here? Huh? What are you doing riding on a horse? Huh? White folks just looked at him, but Stephen had to say something, didn't he? And he didn't shut up until Master told him to shut up. Now, he hates Master in his heart, but his hate is translated into fear. And so he takes his anger at Master out on somebody who looked like him. That way he can vent and say all kind of things. And if he see a black man that ain't scared, it really angers him because he's mad because that black man is reminding him of what he should be but is not. Do you understand? You see? So, I'm just telling the truth. If I wasn't telling the truth, you could have made yourself $50,000 by showing that I'm not telling the truth. So how come you ain't coming in here getting that $50,000? But you sit up out there with somebody who's dumber than you, and you call yourself explaining to them that I don't know what I'm talking about, and they dumb enough to sit there and listen to you while I'm calling you out. And you are a no-show. But anyway, so you listen to this testimony. Here this man done said the Justice Department was missing in action. Huh? He the President of the United States. He appointed the Attorney General. He's the one who hires and fires them. So how are they missing in action? No. He got another plan going. It's all about, like the termites, they just study nibbling away, gradually eating at the foundation of your house, gradually eating and destroying its walls and destroying the fabric. Do you understand? He's draining the swamp. It's been drained once. They drained all of the water and stuff off of it and then filled it and built Washington on it. Now he draining it. He was draining it again, getting rid of the government that's sitting there. Do you understand? And it culminated, his 4-year term in office culminated with a Confederate flag being marched through the rotunda of the state Capitol building with an uprising inspired by him to do away with the democratic process by which power is exchanged in the government of the United States. And you sat there and watched it all on TV. And then he came back. They come back now. The termites come back now and tell you that that was just tourists. You know, and that is what you call coded language. As if to say, you think that was something, that was just practice. You watch what we do next time. Okay, I know you don't believe me. You know everything. And I don't know nothing. So, won't you come in here and explain the scriptures to me? I mean, that's the word of the Most High. Show what I'm messing up on it. Anyway, let's go back. I said I was going to show you some other things. So,
in investigating the claims of election fraud. That same day, Attorney General Barr stated publicly that President Trump's claims had no merit. Ignoring the top law enforcement officer in the country, Republican congressmen amplified the stolen election message to the American public. Let's listen.
And so there's widespread evidence of fraud because people haven't done their jobs. Durham and Barr will deserve a big notation in history when it's written of the rise and fall of the United States if they don't clean up this mess, clean up the fraud, do your jobs, and save this little experiment in self-government.
Again, I join my colleagues in calling on Attorney General Barr to immediately let us know what.
now, Gomer said something that you didn't catch. He called America this little experiment. When has there ever been another experiment like this one? When has there ever been another government like this one? Why didn't he just say this experiment? But he called it a little experiment to show you how much respect he has for it. That's what the Confederacy thought it was. A little nuisance that need to be done away with so they can get on with business as usual. Do you understand? See, listen to people's words. I'm going to tell you something. I told you that the body was made for one purpose: to express the thoughts of the mind. Just can't happen. That's what the brain was made for. To understand, to question, to understand, analyze, and to speak the truth. To convey the truth. Do you understand? And if you listen to him, he called the last superpower. They called it a superpower. I didn't. He called the superpower, the last one, a little experiment. A little experiment? Well, then the Constitution is a little document, huh? And if it's just a little document, it can't be great. Ask him to produce something greater. Since this is just little, what does he consider big? You see how their minds work? You see how liars, they get out and they perpetrate a hoax, perpetrate a lie, and then if you just analyze it, it finally dawns on you that these people are full of it. Do you understand? Just let's go further.
already working on challenging the certified electors. And now what about the courts? How pathetic are the courts? January 6th, I'm joining with the fighters in the Congress, and we are going to object to electors from states that didn't run clean elections.
Now, that Matt Gaetz was one of them who was asking for a pardon. Well, if he thought he was right in what he was doing up there, that it was lawful, what does he need a pardon for? Okay, let's go further.
Is left undefended if we accept the result of a stolen election without fighting with every bit of vigor we can muster.
The ultimate date of significance is January 6th. This is how the process works. The ultimate arbiter here.
Now there's your smoking gun for Jim Jordan. The 6th. All of them was pushing the 6th, huh? When have you ever heard any senators or representatives ever act like the 6th of January, the day that they are supposed to ratify and, have the ceremony of who won and the electoral votes and all that? They never suggested that that was some big date to finally decide an election. The election was decided on November the 3rd or the 2nd. Huh? Everybody knew who won the election a few days after the polls closed. Huh? Matter of fact, generally you learned it on the night before this COVID thing, but they had to wait on the mail-in ballots because people were not going to the polls because of COVID. Huh? Then when they got there, a few days after the polls closed, everybody knew that a new president had been elected. And it was not Donald Trump, it was Joe Biden. Huh? Okay. When you look at Jim Jordan suggesting that January 6th was a special date to finally finalize the election, what was he talking about? You saw what happened on January 6th, didn't you? And look at him. Listen to how he was making a big deal out of something that had never been a big deal before. You understand? So let's listen to him.
Of a stolen election without fighting with every bit of vigor we can muster.
The ultimate date of significance is January 6th. This is how the process works. The ultimate arbiter here, the ultimate check and balance is the United States Congress. And when something is done in an unconstitutional fashion, which happened in several of these states, we have a duty to step forward and have this debate and have this vote on the 6th of January.
And you notice, the only place where you would see him go on was places where wasn't no reporters going to question his authority to say what he was saying. You understand? Look, if I'm out here in the public telling the public something, and yet I choose a forum where it's only people going to come in there that ain't going to question what I say, you should not believe a word that I said. You used to know that. You understand me? Americans didn't used to be that dumb. That's one thing about Americans. They're called a rebellious house. Why? Because they're full of questions. If they don't agree with you, they tell you about yourself. You understand? But now, look at them. You got over 74 million people voted to re-elect a fool. Why I call him a fool? Because he does not believe in God. He does not believe in the truth. That's why he never lets the truth come out of his mouth, knowingly. Do you understand? He's a liar. The very definition of devil that Jesus gave was, he's a liar and the father of it. Do you understand? The only thing you get from somebody who follows Donald Trump is one lie after another. And that's why they get angry when you ask them questions. They want to curse at you. They want to say all kind of hateful things to you, because when you ask them for some proof of anything that they say and you question their answer because they try to sidestep you or they talk all around the subject, it's because they know they're lying. But now, just listen, and I'm going to show you an example of that before the night is out. But I want you to hear this stuff. I'm going to try to not stop.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
Mr. Donahue, on December 27th, you had a 90-minute conversation with the president where he raised false claim after false claim with you and Mr. Rosen. How did you respond to what you called a, quote, stream of allegations?
The December 27th conversation was, in my mind, an escalation of the earlier conversations. As the former acting AG indicated, there were a lot of communications that preceded that. As we got later in the month of December, the president's entry.
It's very important. It's very important that you listen to the second highest justice system officer in the country. He is the Deputy Attorney General. At least he's one of the Attorney General. He's the Deputy Attorney General. He's right up under, he was right up under Barr at that time. Do you understand? Okay. Now, he's the Richard Donahue, former acting Deputy Attorney General. Do you understand? All these are Trump appointees that he, when appointing them, he somehow thought that they would show him some kind of favoritism for appointing them. You understand? Because that's the way his world works. You understand? Now, just listen to the things that the Deputy Attorney General tells you that Donald Trump asked them, all of those high-ranking Justice Department officials, what he asked them to do. Now just listen.
He became more urgent. He became more adamant that we weren't doing our job. We need to step up and do our job. And he had this arsenal of allegations that he wanted to rely on. And so I felt in that conversation that it was incumbent on me to make it very clear to the president what our investigations had revealed, and that we had concluded, based on actual investigations, actual witness interviews, actual reviews of documents, that these allegations simply had no merit. And I wanted to try to cut through the noise, because it was clear to us that there were a lot of people whispering in his ear, feeding him these conspiracy theories and allegations. And I felt that being very blunt in that conversation might help make it clear to the president that these allegations were.
You'll notice he said he felt that there were people whispering in Trump's ear. But in actuality, Trump was whispering in people's ears. Now this is what's really you found out about him. I mean, he's sitting up there whispering in their ear, telling them what they should do your job. What was their job? In his mind, their job was to do whatever he wanted done. Do you understand? And everybody around Donald Trump that didn't do what Donald Trump wanted done, what did he do? He got rid of them. So wasn't nobody whispering in his ear. He was whispering in their ears. Do you understand? Okay. Proof of that is when they was telling him this election, Bill Barr told him this election, it was not no fraud. That's BS, man. And he didn't pay Bill Barr no attention. Barr was a great attorney general until he refused to let Trump whisper in his ear some more. Are you hearing me? So isn't that proof that wasn't nobody whispering to Trump? Trump was the one doing the whispering. I didn't hear you. And if you didn't accept his whisper, hit the road, Jack. Huh? Okay. He finally found somebody who he could whisper to. And got him to and started bouncing it off of the rest of them. Well, what if I appoint him as the acting attorney general? Remember that? Just listen now.
Simply not true. And so as he went through them, and what for me was a 90-minute conversation or so, and what for the former acting AG was a 2-hour conversation, as the president went through them, I went piece by piece to say, no, that's false. That is not true. And to correct him really in a serial fashion as he moved from one theory to another.
Can you give me an example of one or two of those theories?
So one that was very clear at that point was the Antrim County, the ASOD report that I mentioned earlier. The Allied Security Operations Group released this report that said 68% error rate. There was, in fact, in Antrim County a hand recount. Had nothing to do with the department. The department did not request that. That was pursuant to litigation brought by other parties. But there was a hand recount. So they were able to compare the hand recount to what the machines had reported. And for the ballots that were actually counted by the machine, more than 15,000, there was one error, one ballot. And I did a quick calculation and came up with 0.0063% error rate, which is well within tolerance. And so I made it very clear to the president, because he was so fixated on the ASOD report in the December 15th conversation, that in fact our investigation revealed that the error rate was 0.0063%. So that, Mr. President's example of what people are telling you that is not true, and that you cannot and should not be relying on. So that was one very explicit one, and I think you see that reflected in my notes. We went through a series of others. The truck driver who claimed to have moved an entire tractor-trailer of ballots from New York to Pennsylvania, that was also incorrect. We did an investigation where the FBI interviewed witnesses at the front end and the back end of that trailer's transit from New York to Pennsylvania. We looked at loading manifests. We interviewed witnesses, including, of course, the driver, and we knew it wasn't true. Whether the driver believed it or not was never clear to me, but it was just not true. So that was another one that I tried to educate the president on. There were a series of others, mostly in swing states. Of course, he wanted to talk a great deal about Georgia, the State Farm Arena video, which he believed, for various reasons, was, as he said it, fraud staring you right in the face.
Were any of the allegations he brought up found credible? Did you find any of them credible?
No.
Never, this is something that I would say. In order for Donald Trump to have believed that this was taking place, he would have had a because there. No, he didn't believe these things. He was suggesting to them that that is the excuse that they could use. Do you understand? He was giving them excuses to make a false claim that they could get away with making because they were the Justice Department. Do you understand? And that's what he was angry because he couldn't get them to go to get the hint. You understand? He never argued when they told him that that's not the case. He just say, but there was this and there was that. He didn't believe that because he did not ever say because. Tell me something. If I told you that I believe people could sprout wings and fly, no matter how much I quote that, on what would I base believing that? You see, beliefs have to have some kind of foundation. Do you understand? If it has no foundation, you cannot claim you believe it. And be true. Now you can say I believe, but when someone asks you on what do you base that belief, then they find out the truth, that there's no basis for it. And if there's no basis for it, then you are lying when you say you believe it. You're trying to get me to believe it. Do you understand? Okay. All right.
So during this conversation, did you take handwritten notes directly quoting the president?
I did, and to make it clear, Attorney General Rosen called me on my government cell phone, said he'd been on the phone with the president for some time. The president had a lot of these allegations. I was better versed in what the department had done just because I had closer contact with the investigations, and the AG asked me to get on the call. Of course I agreed, and I began taking notes only because at the outset the president made an allegation I had not heard. I had heard many of these things, I knew many of them were investigated, but when the president, at least when I came to the conversation, when he began speaking, he brought up an allegation I was completely unaware of. And of course that concerned us, so I simply reached out and grabbed a notepad off my wife's nightstand and a pen, and I started jotting it down. That had to do with an allegation that more than 200,000 votes were certified in the state of Pennsylvania that were not actually cast. Sometimes the president would say it was 205, sometimes he would say it was 250, but I'd not heard this before, and I wanted to get the allegation down clearly so that we could look into it if appropriate, and that's why I started taking those notes, and then as the conversation continued, I just continued to take the notes.
Let's take a look at the notes, if we could right now. As we can see on the screen, you actually quote President Trump asking, "Where's DOJ?" just like we heard him say in his first television interview. How did you respond to that?
So both the acting AG and I tried to explain to the president on this occasion and on several other occasions that the Justice Department has a very important, very specific, but very limited role in these elections. States run their elections. We are not quality control for the states. We are obviously interested in and have a mission that relates to criminal conduct in relation to federal elections. We also have related civil rights responsibilities, so we do have an important role. But the bottom line was, if a state ran their election in such a way that it was defective, that is to the state or Congress to correct. It is not for the Justice Department to step in And I certainly understood the president as a layman, not understanding why the Justice Department didn't have at least a civil role to step in and bring suit on behalf of the American people. We tried to explain that to him. The American people do not constitute the client for the United States.
To say that you understood that the president as a layman did not have that. That's why the president has a cabinet. That's why the president has a White House attorney. And whatever he does not understand about law, do you think that the White House attorney hadn't told him what he could, what the Justice Department could and could not do, and all of this kind of thing? No, I don't certainly understand that. I mean, you tell the truth, and to hell with what the listeners going to think about it. You just tell the truth. No, you cannot say you understand that. Name another president that ever thought that the Justice Department was his own Justice Department. Even Nixon knew better than that. When he thought he was going to fire all of them Justice Department people, the senators warned him that you do that, you going to be impeached. Do you understand? You can't turn the Justice Department into your private hit squad. They swore to uphold the Constitution just like you did. Do you understand? So, no, this is beside the point. The point is, watch what Donald Trump says about, what he wants them to do.
The Justice Department, the one and only client of the United States Justice Department is the United States government. And the United States government does not have standing, as we were repeatedly told by our internal teams, OLC led by Steve Engel, as well as the Office of Solicitor General, researched it and gave us thorough, clear opinions that we simply did not have standing. And we tried to explain that to the president on numerous occasions.
Let's take a look at another one of your notes. You also noted that Mr. Rosen said to Mr. Trump, quote, DOJ can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election. How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
So let's now put up the notes where you quote the president. As you're speaking to that, he said, the president said, just say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. So, Mr. Donahue, that's a direct quote from President Trump, correct?
That's an exact quote from the president, yes.
I'm going to play that part again. That is one of the most important recollections of statements from then the President of the United States. After all of that, telling him that there was no fraud, there was no this, there was no that. That proves the point that I was making to you, that wasn't nobody whispering in his ear. Donald Trump was making up lie after lie after lie to tell them to put out there as their reason for doing what he wanted done. Do you understand? And then when it all said and done, they told him, look, we can't, the Justice Department just can't snap its fingers and make all this go away. He said, that's not what I'm asking you to do. Well, I tell you what. Okay, just say, listen now, listen.
He responded very quickly and said, essentially,
let's take a look at another one of your notes. You also noted that Mr. Rosen said to Mr. Trump, quote, DOJ can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election. How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
So let's now put up the notes where you quote the president. As you're speaking to that, he said, the president said, just say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. So, Mr. Donahue, that's a direct quote from President Trump, correct?
That's an exact quote from the president, yes.
Let's take a look at another one of your notes. You also noted that Mr. Rosen said to Mr. Trump, quote, DOJ can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election. How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
So let's now put up the notes where you quote the president. As you're speaking to that, he said, the president said, just say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. So, Mr. Donahue, that's a direct quote from President Trump, correct?
That's an exact quote from the president, yes.
The next note shows that even that the president kept pressing, even though he had been told that there was no evidence of fraud. The president keeps saying that the department was, quote, obligated to tell people that this was an illegal, corrupt election.
That's also an exact quote from the president, yes.
Obligated to who? Obligated to him. Huh? That's what he's saying. You got an obligation to me to tell him that whatever I want him told. Now, what made him feel that he could get the number two and the number one? The attorneys general of the United States in his office and tell them that they need to go out and lie to the American people about the election being corrupt. What made him think that he could do that? He told you what made him do that. What made him think that a long time ago. You just forgot. He told you. Let me show you. Now, this young man that I'm about to let you hear, he does pretty good homework. And I'm going to let it play from the beginning, and you'll remember that this is what Donald Trump said a long time ago.
When I read that Donald Trump yesterday took aim at the American justice system, called it a laughingstock, called it a joke, I thought, whoa, wait a second. Did Donald Trump have some great awakening? Is Donald Trump finally coming out and calling the American justice system what it is, because it has one version for the haves and one version for the have-nots? Is Trump going to issue a critique of the war on drugs for deliberately and disproportionately targeting non-white Americans? Is Donald Trump going to call out the plea deal industrial complex that has so many potentially not guilty individuals pleading guilty just to avoid the potential of incredibly long jail time? Is he taking aim at the structural injustices that pervade the American justice system? And the answer is no. Donald Trump called the U.S. justice system a joke and a laughingstock because I guess we haven't been tough enough and already tortured and found guilty the New York truck terrorist from Tuesday's attack. Here's Donnie Boy himself.
And we'll never, ever forget the beautiful lives that have been taken from us. That was a horrible event, and we have to stop it, and we have to stop it cold. we also have to come up with punishment that's far quicker and far greater than the punishment these animals are getting right now. They'll go through court for years. At the end, there'll be who knows what happens. We need quick justice, and we need strong justice. Much quicker and much stronger than we have right now. Because what we have right now is a joke, and it's a laughing stock.
That is pretty damn clear, right? What we have.
They'll go through court for years. At the end, there'll be who knows what happens. We need quick justice, and we need strong justice.
What was he talking from? He was talking from experience. They go through court for years, and in the end, he was going to say they will just be fined. Because that's whose history? His history. And it brought him to the conclusion that the U.S. Justice Department is a joke. You can get away with anything. He said he could go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and he wouldn't lose any support. He wasn't worried about what the justice system would do, because if you got enough money, you can even do that and claim innocence because somebody was attacking you or whatever. I didn't hear you. Now, remember now, this man sit there in front of the top law enforcement officers and told them to lie. Just say that it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman. What? That's how much respect he had for the Justice Department, that he could sit up there in their face and tell them in so many words, look, I know you just as corrupt as me, so let's do this. I didn't hear you. The handcuffs should have came out then. Go ahead.
Sir, somebody has their phone unmuted.
Well, they got their hand up? Or there's somebody in the
717 conference.
Okay, you got your phone unmuted in the 717 conference room. Be careful what you say, what you have, let it come out your mouth. So that's all I'm gonna tell you. You know, let it be the truth or let it be nothing. What's the number?
It's a 313 area code.
Come on.
313 area code.
What is that?
It's 313 area code. Last four is 0592.
0492.
0592.
0592. Why do you have your phone unmuted? Okay, you can mute them back. So now you see he really meant it when he said that the justice system of America, of the United States, is a joke. Huh? He proved it by sitting up there talking to the top law enforcement people, telling them to lie. Just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republicans in Congress. Let's wait a minute. Maybe he didn't say it like that. Let me see here. I always want to make sure that we get this right. Let's see here. What was the name of that? I'm going to quit in a minute. I just wanted to show you these things.
In the weeks leading to January 6th,
In their election in such a way that it was defective, that is to the state or Congress to correct. It is not for the Justice Department to step in.
Oh, DOJ can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election. Notes. You also noted that Mr. Rosen said to Mr. Trump, quote, DOJ can't and won't snap its finger.
Now remember now, Mr. Rosen is the acting Attorney General. And the Deputy Attorney General is the one testifying. Mr. Rosen told the president at that time, Donald Trump, that the Justice Department, the DOJ, can't and won't snap its fingers to change the outcome of the election. What is that? That's giving him a way to, cut this foolishness out, man. Huh? You saying this in front of other witnesses, too. You understand? Did Trump stop? He said, well, just say that it was corrupt. Ain't that something? Listen.
And change the outcome of the election. How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
So let's not.
Now, I'm not gonna stop it no more after this. I'm gonna just let the whole thing go on and play. But if he said leave the rest to him and the Republican congressman, what does that tell you about them people sitting up in Congress, in the Senate and House that was supporting Donald Trump? What does that tell you? That tells you that they had a plan. Jim Jordan said January 6th. Huh? Which means he was in on it. Do you understand? They was all in on it. I've told you, just like I warned you about that you should never have, before you elected him, I warned you what he was planning on doing. Now I'm going to warn you again. All of you all who, white people, you better listen. All of you that want to keep your country, I mean, if you know anything about, they showed you movies that imitate this. Remember what the Joker told the boy when he was going around blowing up stuff and threatening to blow up stuff? He told him, the Two-Face that, when he said, look, I'm just a dog chasing cars. Wouldn't know what to do with it if I caught it. He said, I'm chaos. You remember that? You haven't heard not one of these people claim that they have a better form of government to introduce to you than what you have. They just want you to destroy this government and lead him in charge. Because to do what? I don't know. I mean, you're not going to be rich very long, because when there's no more federal government behind the money, it won't be worth nothing. When there's no more United States. How much is the Russian ruble worth right now? At the collapse of the USSR, the money that was backed by it lost its value too. It dropped in value. Now, let me tell you something. You are witnessing the fall of this present civilization. You are witnessing the demise of this civilization. Before a civilization is removed, it falls. When I say falls, it fell away from morals, fell away from religious principles, fell away from things that were upholding it. Just like a building that falls away from its foundation, that building is soon going to be demolished because its foundation is no longer there. Do you understand? You heard this man speak irreverently of something that you've never heard any government official refer to America's democracy as a little experiment. Do you understand? I mean, he's showing you, and consider the source. That's what people used to tell us when I was growing up. The elders used to tell me when I'd bring them something somebody said, they kind of sometimes chuckle and say, "Consider the source, young blood." And that told me, well, who brought you this? Who is this man telling you this? What is his reputation? What is her reputation? What is, what have they, we used to have a saying when somebody said, well, so-and-so said such and so, and somebody says, Johnny's mouth ain't no prayer book. What are you talking about? That's just another way of saying, ain't no sense in running with something that he said, or Joanne, who is she? What is that? Who is Louis Gomer? What has he actually done other than sit up there and try to practice bigotry and racism? That's who you want to be your champion? People who can only come out as long as it stay dark? Can't come out in the light and go back and forth with you in an intelligent manner. All they can do is throw insults at you. Here, Fox News, you listen to a news organization that could tell you about Benny Thompson coming in here having a discussion with the new Nation of Islam, but they didn't have no interview with the man that he was talking to. Huh? I mean, when President Obama was talking with, was attending Jeremiah Wright's church, they played something Jeremiah Wright was saying and interviewed him and all that kind of stuff because they knew they could handle him. It ain't no, as long as Allah is with me, it ain't no human being or group of human beings that can come in here and handle me. I do the handling in here. You come on in here with your so-called loaded questions. I'll show you ain't got nothing but some blanks. Like that boy that wrote on our site about white people owning everything and that didn't mean a hill of beans. So now you see what Donald Trump thought and thinks of the justice system of America, because he's been getting away and paying his way out of things. All he get was fined and stuff because he ran into people who didn't think he was worth the time as long as he was paying the money. That he wasn't worth the time to go after, because what is he really doing? Do you understand? Now he done almost destroyed your country. And if you don't make an example out of him, You soon won't have no country. And you need to make an example out of all of them who helped him. I don't care what part they played. I don't care if they were just a doorman. You need to make examples out of them. Yeah. So, are there any questions before I let you go? I'm going to just leave it right there. Go online and listen to the whole thing yourself. And all of you that's too stubborn to join with me, you notice, I don't ever ask people to join with me. You think I didn't mean it when I said if you ain't got sense enough to join with me, you don't belong with me? And if you say you my follower, I know all of my followers. They call me, they let me know that they with me. And they ask me, what do I want them to do? And if you ain't did that, you ain't my follower. And just know that. And yeah. So Allah gave me a job, and he told me to just give you warning, and whatever faults I have, he would save me. So I'm satisfied. And it really bothers me. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm so disappointed. And yet, even with me telling you something like that, there's certain things Allah ain't gonna let me do. So, I mean, as the messenger said, the black man's nature make him to tremble in fear at times when he know that he far off the path of righteousness. Yeah. It's only certain limit that I will go. Otherwise you wouldn't be safe with me. Do you understand? So I'm careful. But Allah knew where he was putting me, back in the middle of all these wrongdoing people. And righteousness and wickedness can't dwell together. It's just like fresh water and salt water. They separate from each other. Do you understand? They gradually will mix if you give it time, but they separate. So, but that's one of the ways of keeping the ocean from becoming a poison source, a poisonous to all of the life that's in it. If it was not for the sun drawing up the rain, drawing up the water vapor, and dropping it on top of the mountain as snow, and then melting it pure to run back into the sea, that's how the ocean is steadily being replenished with water that is not polluted. And that consequently, just like us, the air that we breathe, is what, 78% nitrogen? That's not what we live off of. We live off of the 20% oxygen that's in it. Do you understand? That have to be steadily replenished. So, I mean, it is really something, the way this thing works. Huh? All praise is due to Allah. I'm so thankful that Allah has enlightened us to understand his methods of doing things. You see, the preservation of a civilization depends on the Word of God, the righteousness the instruction in righteousness. Any civilization that springs up that does not have the instruction in righteousness, that civilization is doomed from its beginning. It cannot stand. But why? Because it's going to be polluted. And the more polluted it becomes, when people's minds become polluted with the love of money, the love of pleasure, more than the love of God, then that civilization is doomed. It will eventually be gone. You see. And you can't legislate morals. Laws are put in place, but trying to legislate morality, you cannot do that. That comes from God. You have to believe in God, because you have to be a keeper of yourself. Can't nobody be your keeper. You saw that with Al Capone and all of them. They, they did what they pleased. Gangsters, crooks, they do what they pleased. Donald Trump did what Donald Trump pleased. He did whatever his mind considered okay. Do you understand? It didn't make no difference because them telling him it's against the law for you to do that. I can't do that. We can't snap our fingers and give you this election. And he said, well, just tell them it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republicans. I don't want to misquote him. Let's see here. I got it right here. So I told you I don't remember crookedness too much. Let's see here.
I'd like to explain that the American people do not constitute the client for the United States Justice Department. The one and only client of the United States Justice Department is the United States.
Look at another one of your notes. You also noted that Mr. Rosen said to Mr. Trump, quote, DOJ can't and won't snap its fingers and change the outcome of the election. How did the president respond to that, sir?
He responded very quickly and said, essentially, that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
So let's now put up the notes where you quote the president. As you're speaking to that, he said, the president said, just say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman.
He could have just as easily said, he could have just as easily said, just say that it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the rest of the crooks in Congress. If that's what you want to be your government, you go ahead. I mean, some of you are under the misguided conception that somehow I'm afraid of what's going to happen to y'all, that it's going to hurt me. There ain't nothing that you doing to yourself going to hurt me. Allah already promised me salvation. He told me to warn you. And then he said he'd deliver me. And that's already in progress. So, I mean, really, I can be here or I can be elsewhere. Me and my followers. You the one ain't got no parachute. Allah always makes a way for his people to survive a catastrophe. So soon y'all gonna be out in the streets murdering each other. That's what's finna happen to y'all. You know, you didn't control your guns, and now you're gonna die by the very thing that you refused to put some control on. The messenger said it. He said you're gonna see each other you're gonna see people killing each other out in the street, and they blood running down in the gutter of the street. Some of these people so miserable that they're too hungry to just go on and kill themselves. They want to take some more people with them. Do you understand? So, used to be people want to commit suicide, they just go and do it to themselves. Now, people that want to commit suicide, they go murder up a lot of people and then they kill themselves. Do you understand? I'm just trying to show you what's coming. All right. You know, what about you? I ain't worried about, what about me? Do I look like I'm worried about me? All right. So that's enough for now. That's enough. We're 20 minutes over. So, if there's no questions or statements, then I'm going to call it a night right there. So may Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds, those of us who accept the truth and believe in it and are grateful for it. May Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's, and may Allah grant each and every one of us a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.
This session is no longer being recorded. Goodbye.